Top of the day to you, our esteemed viewers. This is Keep It Simple on GovTV. My name is Ricky Akbarobari. Co-hosting with me is Tolu Alokpe. Yeah, Okirinde.
Hi, Ricky. Good morning.
How are you doing this Monday morning?
I'm very well.
How was your weekend?
Awesome.
Hope you spent it well, Sha. And
I
you
tried.
rested.
Guys, I
Tolu is a
tried.
workaholic. And she goes out back to back every weekend. So
Who
that's
says?
Actually, I'm actually very intentional about asking how she spent her weekend, because she can move from one place to the other. And when she comes to work on Monday, she's like, oh, I had a very stressful weekend.
Trust me, my last weekend wasn't like that.
Okay.
I had some time off, yeah, because it's really needed.
Yeah.
I've been up to so many things lately, and I decided to take the weekend to rest and spend time with my family. So yeah, when I tell you I had a well-rested weekend,
I'll believe you.
Take you for it. It is not like one of those weekends that I will be, moving around Lagos and just, having one thing or the other to do now.
All right.
How are you too?
I'm actually doing very well. My weekend was quite, not really phenomenal. Just
not
the
eventful
usual
as
stuff.
such.
Exactly. At home doing this or that, caught up in the moment, and before you know it, it's
Chores
Sunday.
alone,
And I'm like, exactly.
Chores alone can take the whole of the weekend.
Yeah.
And you come back to work feeling like
true. I need an announcement, please.
My goodness, you're not even married yet.
Oh my goodness. Anyways, we have a very interesting topic for you today. Yesterday was the World Population Day, which is July 11th. So today we're actually going to be talking about that, exploring the world population and everything that has to do with it. And we do have a guest joining us today. I mean, trust me, it's just going to be something you do not want to miss. And I'm sure you would like to know how many people we have in the world and if we are safe right now.
And
All right, we'll go for a break right now. When we come back, the conversation continues. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Yeah, welcome back from that break. Well, I still keep it simple. And like I said, we are actually discussing the World Population Day, which was yesterday. But we're discussing it today right here in the GovTV studios. We have a guest in the house with us. It's someone quite familiar if you are familiar with our programs. He's been on set before. And his name is Engr Olukayode. Welcome on the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
It's nice to have you
here again. To be invited again.
Exactly. All right, so when we learned that he is the one that we're actually bringing to the set today, I'm like, wow, this man is so intelligent and knowledgeable.
Oh, wow.
Of course,
And
it's versatile.
and versatile and everything. And
Thank
imagine. So seriously, I would like to know how you know all these things there. And how you just do these things, agriculture, and now you're talking about population, different things.
Yes.
How do you do it?
Actually, I wouldn't say I'm that versatile as you say it, but it's just that my interest areas are quite vast, robust, quite a lot. And I tend to link a lot of things together. For instance, agriculture is directly linkable to population.
Population, yeah.
And in this field that I try to look at the global scene, the population across the world, what has been the trend, what has been the kind of policies that are obtained in various countries, and how has that impacted population growth and development generally. All
right. So for today's topic, we're discussing World Population Day, the right to live well and free. The right to live well and free. All right, so while researching this topic, I realized that according to statistics, it took the world thousands, hundreds of thousands of years to get to 1 billion people. And then in the space of 200 years, we added to like 7 billion plus. In fact, in 2021, we are like 7.7 billion people just in 200 years. Why it took like thousands of years to get to just 1 billion. So, I mean, how come? I'm just wondering, what's the cause for this increase in the population? If it took us thousands of years to get to just 1 billion and just 200 years to add 6 more billion people to it, what do you think is the cause for this?
Actually, a number of factors can be attributed to that, amongst which the fact that technology keeps improving every day.
Yeah.
Healthcare, scientific discoveries, the life expectancy keeps increasing. So, I mean, we have more people being born than people who are departing the world. So, all these kind of things contribute to that. And still, in today's world, we are still doing everything possible to ensure longevity and healthy living.
Yeah.
So, all this contribute to population growth. And also, the fact that like this year's theme for World Population Day was rights and choices.
Yeah.
So it's my right to have children.
Yeah.
It's my right, it's my choice. So those kind of factors also contribute tremendously.
As a matter of fact, Christian will tell you we are fulfilling scriptures.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
So these are some of the things I will.
Okay. All right. So I think we should talk about the female fertility rates. Yeah. And when it comes to population, I think it's very important. So without the woman, I mean, we will not be here today without a woman, right? All right. So according to the World Data Bank, they said that 2.4% of women, of every woman, has a fertility rate of 2 child. That's a woman in the world has a fertility rate of 2.4, which is every woman can give birth to 2 children. So in Africa, we have it very, very increased, especially in developing countries.
Right.
We have, like, I think Nigeria is the 7th largest globally. In Nigeria, we have like 5.7% per woman, which is one woman in Nigeria can have like fertility rate is like 5 children. What do you I think that's alarming. I mean, I know we are very healthy Nigerian women, we are the Hebrew women or something like that. Africans, you know, there's this way we encourage each other and we motivate each other. But what do you think is the cause for this? And do you think we should be alarmed at this fertility rate?
It's actually a cause for concern, if we're honest with ourselves.
Globally, actually, not even within Nigeria alone.
Yeah, globally, in Africa, but especially in Nigeria, we have this escalating population. And it's a source of concern. It should be concerned to policymakers. It should be concerned to every one of us. Our population at independence was far below 100 million, probably just a little over 50 million. And that's just 60 years ago. Today, we are over 200 million.
Yeah.
Estimates said we're about 211 million.
Wow.
And there are projections that by the year 2050, Nigeria will become the 3rd most populous country in the world.
Wow.
Where do we have the land space? Where do we have the area to take care of ourselves? Where do we have the capacity economically to sustain that kind of number? It's really alarming. We need to be concerned about that. There should be steps, actions taken to bring that fertility rate under control.
Yeah, so I would ask you now that to what end can we actualize this year's theme, which is right to life and choices? Right. Yeah. How do you think we can actualize this with the alarming rate of overpopulation?
You know, one thing we need to also, I mean, the theme says rights and choices. So there are these sets of fundamental human rights, I mean, predicated or based on the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, which gives the individual the choice, the power to make decisions for themselves. But we can influence those choices. We can persuade the population, we can persuade the people, we can encourage them, we can make sure that they see the reason why we need to bring down those fertility rates. Culturally, it's been like the norm, but it's quite crucial that we should bring those numbers under control. And it's more of persuasion, in my opinion.
I think that's very wonderful right now. But we need to go for a break. Yeah, when we come back, we'll delve more into the female fertility rate and some of the biases we have as Africans when it comes to female fertility rate. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back from that break. Well, we're still discussing the World Population Day, the right to life and freedom. All right, so we're discussing the female fertility rate, and then I think we should discuss about the biases, especially when it comes to Africa. Some of the biases we have when it comes to children.
Yes.
In this part of the world, if you don't have male children,
You've not had any child at all.
So I heard one woman, one senior colleague of mine, and she was like, oh, if you've not started giving birth to like 2-3 male children, even if you've had like 3 female children, you've not started. When you have a male child, that's when you can sit down in meeting. That's when they'll consider you a woman. Talking. Exactly. You know, you can be bold and say, oh, I'm a woman because I have a lot of children. Don't you think that this is actually affecting us as a country and the world at large when it comes to overpopulation?
A lot of those biases, I think we need to bring under control. We must do everything we can to bring them under control. You're not the only one that had that experience. I have an in-law who ended up having 9 daughters because they were looking for a male child.
9.
It's incredible.
9 children.
It's incredible.
Did they later have the male child?
No.
Oh, wow.
They ended up with 9 daughters. But it's amazing that some of us will go to that kind of extent. Yeah, culturally, there are some places where they make one a bit uncomfortable by not having, saying that they don't have a male child yet. But unfortunately or surprisingly, sometimes it's the women themselves that's probably trying to insist on having male children. Yes. So we need to really educate ourselves. We need to help one another to appreciate what we have. Yes, having a male child does not give any particular advantage, to be honest. Against having female children. You may have you have all male children, you may end up not benefiting from them. They may not give you any kind of support. Even though we are not looking forward to depending on our children in old age, we need to make provisions for ourselves. We need to ensure that we keep our own reserves, for the latter times of our lives. But it's not everything that money can acquire. We still need those personal touch. We need those contacts. We need those occasional visits, occasional call by children. If you have all male children, they may not even one of them maybe have the time to keep touch. So let's appreciate what we have, and let's kind of try to disabuse that importance, artificial importance that's given to male children.
All right, so we understand the fact that more advocacy is required, especially on subjects around, reproductive health and, gender fertility of the people. But the truth is that so many people are still oblivious of those things that they should do or what steps to take, procedures that they have to go through to ensure that, to ensure their well-being is secured. So maybe we could talk about things that, women especially should begin to look at. When we're offset, Ricky was talking about the fact that people don't even know the other forms of contraceptive that they can use other than condom. I think you would like to, shed more light on that. Right?
I think our governments, I remember some 20-something or 30 years ago, when I was still in my own productive childbearing age, government promoted a lot of birth control methods. They even make some of those facilities freely available to women in government hospitals. We need to go back to that. We need to encourage women, to know that they have access to inserts, they have access to injections, they have access to pills that can help them to control their fertility. The fertility control is also for the benefit of the health of the woman herself. That's even where the persuasion that I mentioned earlier comes in. We need to persuade women, the majority of whom are not so enlightened, to appreciate the fact that birth control is to their advantage. Fertility control is to the advantage of the entire population. Fertility control is for the assurance of their own future. Because on the long run, when they have so many children and they are unable to cope, to cater for them, it's actually heart-wrenching. It could lead to even medical complications for the individuals concerned.
I think one of the biggest concerns that arises with the overpopulation issue is scarce resources. And when I mean resources, I mean food.
Yes.
And we know how important food is to humans.
Yes.
So I want us to talk about food, especially for country. What do you think will make a country to be able to say, okay, we can cater for ourselves? What are those things that a country needs to have, and they can beat their chest and say that, okay, we can cater for ourselves, we are not scared of to have a lot of people, or the people we have enough things to cater for them. What factors can be responsible for that?
Okay. Before I actually answer your question, I would like to make reference to some kind of background.
Okay.
In 1996, the Food and Agriculture Organization, an arm of the United Nations, held a summit, World Food Summit in Rome. And there the heads of governments and heads of states met to agree on a declaration of the right to have access to adequate food and nutrition. Right to have access to adequate food and nutrition. And it's not the right to have free meal.
Okay.
It's to have access to adequate food and nutrition. So that is to say that government owe that obligation to create the environment, to make available food for the people, that people can feed themselves with dignity. That's important. And when people recognize that they need to be able to feed themselves with dignity, then we now begin to talk about what are the factors.
Okay. All right. So what do you think? What can we do? What can governments do to ensure that we have enough resources, especially for Nigeria? If we look at, in fact, go to the markets now in Nigeria, we know how expensive things are.
Yes.
And people keep on complaining day in, day out, things are very expensive. We have a large number of people, but the produce in the market are very limited and still very expensive that people cannot afford them. How do we balance this? You've been an agricultural
I thank
person.
you. I thank you for looking at that perspective, because as an agricultural industrialist, I'll call myself, there are a lot of challenges today that hinders the ability of our nation, Nigeria, to feed its people. One thing we look at today is the right to live well and free. That right to live well and free has a lot of implications. First of all, the right to live well, to have access to adequate food. Government needs to create the enabling environment. The right to live free, freedom of movement, freedom to engage in enterprise, freedom to engage in agriculture. Today, agriculture is being hindered by the high level of insecurity in the country. We cannot shy away from that. We can absolutely not shy away from that. That is actually the biggest constraint. For example, in my own organization, we had a program this year to open up 300 acres of farmland to grow food. But due to insecurity in the area of our operation, we could not do that. I can imagine the amount of food that should have come out next year from that vast land that we are not able to produce. So the enabling environment needs to be created by the government. Government needs to be determined and actively driving schemes that will promote food production. Please, I just want to say that we should pay less of lip service, less of politics to agricultural programs. Government has a lot of agricultural programs, but is there that adequate sincerity and focus and dedication to the implementation? There's need for a review, and I think that's important so that we can ensure that we have food available for the people. The price of food in the market is going up, and unfortunately, I don't see it coming down in the next 1 year.
Wow.
Unfortunately,
wow,
I regret to see it. Yes.
Forces of inflation,
demand and
supply as well.
All right,
that's true. But aside the agricultural production to cater for the growing population, I would still like you to talk about the position of the government. I mean, what they can do. Can they just put their foot to the ground and say, okay, aside from the fact that we are going to make more food production, like we are going to make resources that would bring about more food production, there is also a regimented procedures through which every family unit must go through. I mean, we have this thing implemented in China some years back, and we saw how it panned out. Yes. Can we have such replication in Nigeria where the government can say we can only have two kids in a family? I mean, in a marriage, 2 kids or nothing at all. Like not more than 2 kids or 3 kids. I mean, that as much as we're trying to put in place more food production that we cater to the needs of the people, we're also trying to reduce the number so as not to have an overpopulation. Is it something that can be obtainable in Nigeria?
It will be very difficult to obtain that kind of fiat in Nigeria.
I think so too.
Because we have ethno-religious sentiments that are attached to these things. I remember a couple of decades ago, a particular government regime in Nigeria attempted to set a limit to the number of children a woman can have. The religious undertone killed the idea. And that is because the government did not take that ethno-religious factor into consideration. There is need for that persuasive approach from the perspective of the health of the woman, from the direction of our ability to adequately feed those children, to ensure adequate nutrition, balanced nutrition. If the government was to make it a policy position that a woman should not have more than a certain number of children, it's going to backfire because of those ethno-religious factors. And there is a need for national reorientation. We are already divided in terms of our orientation. We need to have that refocus of our national values so that we can then promote things like population control.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. I mean, I've been learning a lot of things right here in the studio with our guest, Engineer Olukayode Olaitan, right? Yes. All right, so I think we've actually discussed about the female fertility rate. We've talked about population. In the world right now, we have 7.7 billion people as of 2021. We've also talked about the food scarcity and the rest. We've talked about government too and how they can help. But what about the individuals? I mean, we should be responsible. We should be accountable for some of the actions that we take. If we look at some people don't even have anything in mind when it comes to population. They only think about maybe how they will make more money or how they will live a large life or something like that. I think we should talk about the roles of individuals when it comes to population issues, when it comes to resources, and putting hands together to make sure that we have a world where we can live well and live free too.
Yes, I totally agree with that. I mean, without any reservation. Individually, we need to be conscious of the impact of our decisions. Our wishes. Sometimes our wishes quite differ from our wants. Yes. We need to be able to recognize the fact that what we wish for and what we want are in harmony. In harmony with reality, in harmony with the general good. Individually, we should be able to recognize that I do not have, for instance, if I do not have the capacity to cater for more than 3 children, why will I continue to roll them out? That personal accountability is quite important. Sometimes it's blamed on ignorance. Ignorance is not an excuse, they say in law.
Sometimes even blamed on poverty. You know that?
On poverty, yes. And that is where we don't have to pass every blame or every responsibility to the government.
Yeah.
But that's where, like I said earlier, government needs to help the less privileged to have access to those facilities that enables them to control their birth rate. And for the individual to take responsibility by accepting and utilizing those facilities.
Is there a place, is there a role for education in all of this?
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. There's the role for education, there's role for social orientation. It's important to educate the populace. I mean, government has a lot of organs that are, that has the duty of social mobilization and education. Those, what you are doing today, this program, is something, is your own contribution towards that. I'm sure listeners who listen to this will also have some kind of rethink and reevaluate how they approach the issue of population growth and female fertility.
I think another factor that we've not really talked about is the effect migration has on growing population in some countries. So if the government can also look into that aspect in controlling the number of people that comes in or go out. I mean, there are countries that are looking for more people. While other countries are screaming over population. And also urbanization. So migration, urbanization, just your quick words on those ones.
Actually, as Nigeria, I mean, I want to look at Nigeria particularly from this, to answer this question. Nigeria, we are today more than 200 million in population. And we know that a larger percentage of that population are drifting to the urban areas.
Exactly.
Urbanization is becoming a crisis. The rural areas, which should be the food baskets, are being deserted. And we are compounding our problem. You know, the right to life and the right to live well and free, that living well is being challenged. We need to encourage people to see opportunities. Government also need to create opportunities. We can, I mean, it may be said that one is passing the buck to the government, but it's not like that. It is to create the environment that people will take advantage of the rural environment.
All right, thank you so much, sir. I really do appreciate your coming to the studio.
Thank you
so much for coming. Every insight you've shared with us. So would like you to share your final words on this when it comes to rights to live well and free.
It's important for us to recognize that even as we have the right to live well and free, we also owe the obligation to contribute our quota to ensure that we're able to live well and free. We need to ensure that we're able to meet nutritional needs. We need to ensure that we're able to sustain the population. And we need to also control that population. We need to make personal commitments, personal contributions in that regards. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
I think it has actually been a very interesting time in the studio with Engr Olaitan Olukayode, discussing the world population and the right to live well and free. And I think that each and every one of us has that duty, right, to uphold this and ensure that we make the world a better place. I mean, in so many years to come, we will not be here. Our children, great-grandchildren, they'll be here and they might be the ones suffering for
the choices we made.
Exactly. So please, to everyone out there, make sure you make the right choice and ensure you live well. All right, so till we'll see you some other time. This is Still Keep It Simple. From myself, Tolu, and the engineer in the studio with us today. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye.